that work? Okay, because I can't see anything on the screen, so I don't know. They're not seeing anything in here either, so I'm not entirely sure. If we are on, welcome to Tom Eats His Popcorn he made at 7:30.
Boom, baby.
I'm on that camera. Eat this popcorn.
So what do we want to talk about?
Oh.
How does the popcorn compare to the food at Marvel?
What was that?
How does the popcorn compare to the
How does the popcorn compare to Worlds of Marvel's food? The popcorn is fresher even though it was made at 7:30. There's way more seasoning on the microwave popcorn than anything we eat on most of the cruise. Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to shill. When you watch those food reviews, you'll see that no one's shilling.
That was on the media cruise where they wanted to kiss your ass, imagine.
I mean, I think on a cruise, you just make so much food in bulk that it comes out the way it comes out. And, you know, some things are better in batch than other things. I find that the soups, almost any soup I've ever had on Disney Cruise Line is phenomenal. The soups are always great. The entrees, you never know. We had a beef Wellington that had to be the least seasoned thing I've ever eaten in my life. It had absolutely no flavor. I couldn't believe it. It had nothing from any of it. It just was like texture without any taste. I've never had anything like that in my life. I didn't know it was possible. I thought even naturally the beef must have flavor. They cooked it out.
They might have dried it out or something.
Yeah.
It wasn't dried out. It was tender. It was weird. It was so weird. I was like, do I have COVID? And then everyone else at the table was like, yeah, no, it's totally bland. That was 1923, I think, the beef Wellington.
Hello.
Cocoa was good.
Are you in frame?
Yeah.
I guess I
that.
spoiled the review a little bit. Coco was fantastic. We were all four of us were in tears at the table. It was very, very, very sweet show. Food was good. Drinks were good. The atmosphere is fantastic. Coco, there are three things worth going on the cruise for. Haunted Mansion Parlor, the Moana show, and Coco. Moana is the best stage show I've seen Disney do. Probably, I don't even know, maybe ever. It might be the best stage show they've ever done. It's incredible.
On a ship
Really.
or ever?
No, like period.
Like better than Hunchback even?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. No, that's good to know.
Unreal.
It's good to know. Okay.
It's unreal. I don't want to spoil it for people, but it is really beyond spectacular. It was one of those moments where, like, I know the Muppet thing, like the Muppet thing I'm disappointed in. I get it, and everyone is. But it's impossible to not notice the upswing. It's impossible. To see the same ship 2 years later, to go on what is essentially the same ship. It's the same bones. And it is a completely different experience. Other than, obviously, the running path is still garbage. The pools are not great. Those things they couldn't fix. But the venues and the shows are 5 million times better than everything on the Wish. It's unreal. And the other opposite was everything was done. Nothing was unfinished. Like, nothing just didn't work. Like, it all was completely, absolutely finished. The only thing that they didn't have, like, they ran out of a beer. Like, that was the biggest issue we had was the Periscope Pub.
the
Periscope
media
Pub
people.
ran out of 2 of their specialty beers. I was like, oh, well, that happened on the Wish, too. All right. Just a supply problem. But if that's the worst of it, then no, I think, look, it's super expensive right now, but if you ever thought about, oh, I would like to try a Disney cruise, as a Disney Parks fan, the treasure is where you want to be. The Mansion Pub is fantastic. Jungle Cruise is very cool. Periscope's very cool. That Moana show is unbelievable, and the Coco show is so... live entertainment is back in a big way. I think they have been disappointing. That division has been disappointing for a long time. And on this ship, they came back in force. There's a lot of really cool stuff. All the entertainment is themed to the ship, so that there's hosts called Coriander and Sage that host everything throughout. So there's even like the sail away show and all those little things are different, and they're intertwined into the story of the ship. And then there's completely new things we didn't have time to see that we'll cover on the Maiden. There's an Indiana Jones Choose Your Adventure show that everyone says is hilarious, and it's unlike anything they've ever done before. I can't wait to go see it. There's a Jungle Cruise show in the atrium. There's a Jungle Cruise interactive show in the atrium of a cruise ship. And then we saw the last 2 minutes of this. Is the coolest thing I've seen. They did Hollywood Squares on a screen with live Disney villains. So 9 Disney villains live playing with guests in a Hollywood Squares format.
Wow.
That's cool.
And it was hilarious. They have done some things that are just, if the theme parks aren't paying attention, they need to be. They need to go on the ship and see what is happening in entertainment, because
I'd be curious
they killed it.
to know like how much, what makes more money for them, like per what they're putting in, like say a cruise ship versus a theme park. Maybe it's worth investing more in the ships. They might get a bigger bang
Well, I mean,
for
on
their
the
buck.
ship, no matter what, you have to fill time, right? There's a number of people on the ship, and you want to make sure there's enough for them to do, and so you need to have enough shows and activities, right? And so I think there's more of an algorithm there where it's like, here's, what do we think is a fair budget to spend on entertainment for this long of a cruise? That's what we're going to do. Here's what we can fit into that budget. I think that's what happens. But I think their outlook is more holistic, right? It's people really love our entertainment, and if it's different on each ship, then people will book more cruises to see different ships. And,
Yes.
I think, again, it's the same as parks. I've yelled for years. I was like, stop just cloning stuff at parks. You could use the same IP, but do something different. It makes people want to go to the other ones. I think that the cruise line has figured that out. They're like, well, if there's different bars and there's different entertainment, if the ships are really different from one another, it's not always just about the destination. People will make the ship the destination. Haunted Mansion Parlor alone makes the ship a destination. Like, as a Disney fan, that's all the reason in the world you need to get on that ship is the parlor. Because it was built by people that love this thing the way you and I do, and it's very clear that those people love it the way you and I do, because it's exactly what you or I would have came up with ourselves. Like, we wouldn't be able to execute it. We're not as talented. But in our mind, at least, what you would have wanted it to be is what it is, which very rarely happens in all of this. But yeah, let me open the chat. Not to rant too much. It's really great. I'm very happy that things are in the right direction, especially with so many more ships coming.
I still haven't done a Disney cruise, which is crazy.
No?
No.
Well, it was Rosanna's first. And the end of we weren't even done with the first night, and she looks at me and goes, are you okay?
Excuse me.
He took Rosanna on a cruise, so he was like, it wasn't her first. He started coughing right away. That was amazing. You were like, it was Rosanna's first cruise. Like, does he know?
I just want to make sure he's all right.
No,
Nick, I
I'm
can't
fine.
mute-
Just
I
water
can't
down
mute
the
you,
wrong
so-
pipe.
He can't mute you, so we're just going to keep getting you coughing, even though you left the room. Oh, that's fantastic.
I'm waiting to hear if I'm doing a week on the Alaska cruise plan, but they might be changing the piano company, so I'm waiting to see.
Oh, okay.
So we'll see.
I hope not, because I like
Looking
the
for a
people
+1
they have.
on that cruise?
What?
You need a +1?
No. Sorry.
I was hoping.
If I get it, I'm honestly going to use it as an excuse to put me, Allie, and the kids in a cabin, and we'll go to Alaska. That's what we're going to do.
I mean, the Alaska's the best. That's the best one. I love that itinerary. It's great. And all the crew. We talked to multiple bartenders, and everyone, like, they've all worked with Disney Cruise Line for several years. And I think they all said Alaska. That was everyone's answer, was, I like Alaska. Like, yeah, definitely. Definitely agree. But it
it'll
was
be
Rosanna's
okay.
first cruise. I don't know if the one with Nick counts. But Rosanna's first cruise. And we're not even, she was so worried about getting sick on the ship and whatever. And then we get to, like, not even the end of night one, and she looks at me and goes, I love this. And she's like, oh no, I'm obsessed.
And that was your
already."
first cruise at all? Ever, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember my first one. I was like, oh, this is what people do. Because being from the Northeast, it made no sense to really fly and get on a boat. But when you live here and you can just drive and get on a boat.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, people know I held out a long time. And my first one was until 2021.
My parents are in their 70s. They still haven't done a cruise. I'm like, you're missing out. You're gonna love it. And my father's like, he loves to gamble.
Yeah.
He'll take those junket flights to Atlantic City for 4 days and come back. Like, he'll still do that now. He's like, can you drive me to Sanford? No, I'm not going to drive you to Sanford. It's a $50 flight. You can go park.
Your dad and Tom's dad sound the same.
Yeah.
They probably grew up 20 minutes apart.
They definitely know each other.
My favorite thing to do is, especially when like if I go on a cruise or something where there's going to be merchandise or souvenir cups or whatever, I always know what's going to set him off on the phone. He'll get on the phone, be like, I bought everything already. What do you mean you bought everything already? I was like, we have nothing left to buy. He's like, well, that's your stuff. I'm going to buy it too. I was like, why do we need two? Well, that's yours and this is mine. It's like, neither of us are going to open it. What's like, we're both going to leave this thing in the box till the end of time. Why do we need two of them? And then people see us walking out bags, they're like, oh, they're resellers. No, we're reverse grifters. Man. The designer of Parmy, the first original park characters in Figment.
The creator.
Which of the three announced ships are you most excited for? The Destiny, the OLC ship, or the Adventure? I mean, obviously the OLC ship. I just want to see what they do with a cruise ship. And God, there has to be some Duffy venue. I don't know if it's going to be the dinner show or what.
Do you think
Also,
he'll be,
just
do you
the
think
idea
he'll
of
be
like
the statue.
what was, oh, he'll be the statue, maybe. What's ironic is, so the what is it? The Magic? Yeah, the Magic has the Mickey with the wheel, right? That's the statue. Ironically, that statue is in Cape Cod at Disney Sea, which is the home of Duffy. So they can't use that one again, which then years later they temporarily added a Duffy statue to it. So it's the Mickey with the wheel, but then there was a tiny Duffy like pointing like where to go for a little bit. That's not there anymore. So I don't know if they would do that, or it's also their first ship, and they're real big on classic Disney for sure. So I don't know that it's going to be Duffy and Friends. I think it's probably going to like Mickey's going to get a second one or something. Like I think they're going to try to be very traditional and like, oh, we'd like Mickey or Minnie or someone in that group, probably. Steamboat Willie, Mickey, maybe that makes sense. It'll be something like that, I think. But for damn sure, Duffy and Friends will be on that ship, and there will be a 4-hour line wrapping twice around the entire top of the ship to meet like Sailor Gelatoni, or Sailor Lena Bell. They'll have like there'll be a lottery you have to enter on the phone.
I don't care about Duffy. Is that weird?
Yes.
I never cared about Duffy. I didn't
I
get
don't
it.
think it makes sense until you see it. Once
Like
you
somewhere else? Like
once you like go to Japan or the Asia parks and see it, then it like starts to make sense.
I only know him from
It's
Epcot,
weird
and he just
until
popped
you
up
see
at
it.
Epcot one day.
Have
It's
you ever
like, there's this
hugged
berry.
Duffy?
No,
He's a good hugger.
He's a good.
Yeah.
Okay.
He is.
I've told this story a million times. I've told you the story of how Duffy came to be.
I love this story.
I don't think so.
I'll tell this story again. So Duffy began as simply the Disney bear. So they decided in like the early 2000s that they're like, oh, what are we gonna do for park product? What a teddy bear. People really liked. So Disney went through like a teddy bear phase where they realized teddy bears sell really well. And so that's why Brother Bear got made. The whole creation of that movie was because they could sell plush bears. But at that same time, they're like, oh, what if the parks got in on it? They're like, what if we made a plush bear that's somehow Disney related? They're like, oh, we'll give him Mickey paw prints. And so they release it as the Disney bear. No one cares. They try their hardest. What was that?
I got one.
I have a bunch of them,
And the
all
book.
because they were
The book
discounted.
the book they came out with,
Oh yeah.
where it was like Magic Kingdom at night.
The what?
It was like Magic Kingdom at night, and Duffy's like, well, his name wasn't Duffy.
Yeah.
He was like going around the park.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I have that book.
I forgot about that. But either way, so it doesn't work. And they make all these colors and costumes and it doesn't sell. And so they're kind of stuck with a lot of them. And so at the same time, Disney Sea opens and OLC comes to Disney and they come to Imagineering and they go, we would like an original mascot for this park. This park needs some sort of mascot. Come up with something. And so they brainstorm, and I think someone in the meeting brought up, they're like, we have those bears. What about those bears? They're like, what do you mean? Like, what if we tried to sell them the bear? Like, and they gave it to Imagineering, and someone sat there and they like came up with the story, like the backstory that he's Minnie, and they're like, how do we fit it into the park? All right, so Cape Cod, what if Minnie got a plush bear for Sailor Mickey so he wouldn't be alone when he sails off?
That I heard. I know that.
Yeah.
Part. Okay.
And so they write the story, and but to sell it to OLC, again, it's Japan in the early 2000s, and maybe still Japan now, but it's a giant boardroom full of old Japanese male executives. And they put a Duffy bear at each seat. The Japanese executives, these businessmen come in and they sit and they pick up the bear. None of them can put the bear down. They're all hugging it and playing with it. They are infatuated by it. And immediately they go, we will take this. And Disney's like laughing in the back. They're like, we sold all those bears.
That's awesome.
We did it. And then they release the bear and it becomes like the biggest merchandise item in the history of Disney
That's
parks.
so funny.
People buy tickets just to buy the bear. They buy the bear and they leave the park. The best park in the world, they don't even care. They just buy the bear and they walk out. And it becomes this hot commodity. Eventually, to the point where Disney's like, wait, what's happening? What is happening? And so finally, Disney goes, can we like sell it? And then they're like, well, it turns out in our contract, we've technically sold the rights to OLC, to this bear. And so they found out they would have to pay OLC for the rights to a character they created for them that they sold to them thinking they were just getting away with something. But so now Disney pays OLC annually to use Duffy and Friends and the right
So
to make new
funny.
Duffy and Friends characters. But that's the story of how Duffy came to be and where we're at now. Now, Disney has made their money back because I will tell you, they obviously own and operate a good portion of Shanghai and Hong Kong. They're not full owners, but the sales there are unreal. And so even if America never sells another Duffy again, they have made their money on the deal. Yeah.
Wow.
That's the Duffy story.
Still not gonna get one.
Nah.
Now, I think that story has happened here before with Tom,
Yeah.
where you walked in and you saw a plush bear at your desk and you couldn't put it down, like Big Al or something like. Henry.
That's how we made Gertie. It was there, and I just couldn't put it down. Man. Joe, are you booked on the Treasure? Is that a thing? Okay. And you did it through Be Our Guest. That's great.
How much did they charge you?
Nah.
He's trying to talk me into going that same week.
I mean, it's great.
He's going
It's
on
really
Halloween,
great.
first Halloween week.
What is it? The first Halloween?
No, we're doing Halloween on the high seas on Halloween night.
Oh, on Halloween? That's cool. I would temper your expectations for the holiday offerings.
Oh, I know.
Compared to the parks, they do very little. Like, characters come out in costume, and some of the activities are themed. It's not a ton. So I will tell you, like, if you ever want to book, and you're like, oh, specifically for Halloween or Christmas, I want to go on a ship because of the holiday offerings. They're not a whole. There's not a whole lot to it. Yeah. So, just so you know, I just like to tell people because I thought first time I went, I was like, oh, there's going to be all this stuff, and you get there, and it's like, oh, one day is themed to Christmas. Okay. And otherwise, there's a tree and a gingerbread house, but that's kind of it. Can you spill what's happening January 9th? I cannot. I am not allowed to.
I'll tell them.
Nah.
Wow.
I didn't say for free.
God.
For a trip on the Treasure.
Yeah, someone said it was super cool to see Daniel Joseph. Daniel's one, but the name of the other gentleman is escaping me. The two of them Everyone who worked on that, what a tremendous job. But Daniel's story is amazing because Daniel said he grew up, people had posters of athletes on their wall. And Daniel said he had a picture of Yale Gracie, working on the Hatbox Ghost. And I love that. I love that Daniel has always been one of us, and it's refreshing that one of us is there. Not only that one of us is there, but that they are that talented. He is wildly talented. And his fingerprints are all over that ship. They actually changed one thing in Worlds of Marvel. At the entrance there is an actual hologram, like a video hologram in the wall. And it is really cool. And that's another Daniel Joseph creation. So I'm glad, Cruise Line throws money around, and clearly he came in with a bunch of ideas, and they said, we'll take all of that. That's fine. You want a fish tank with ghost fish? Yeah, we'll do it. It's a bunch of things they wanted to do other places that Parks said no. And it's like, well, Cruise Line will pay for it. Kind of usually what happens with Japan, where they're like, well, Japan will pay for it. We can finally build that thing we want. Oh, is Duffy he's on for Jollywood Nights, yeah. I mean, he gets a good weight there. He gets a very good weight. And I don't think it's just the Japanese guests that are coming, but they are coming because that's still likely 3 hours less of a wait than it would be to meet Santa Duffy in Japan. So I totally get that.
Not as much as Ali.
Not as much as Ali.
Do you think there'll ever be an Ollie meet and greet?
I feel like there could be. I would meet him. I would wait an hour to meet him.
Yeah, me too.
Like Ollie, I know we make fun of Ollie, but I like original characters, and the fact that in this day and age an original character was made that fits the park really well is great.
Can we have a Parmy meet and greet?
You have a Parmy meet and greet? Yeah, we're gonna buy a chicken parmesan and put a little suit on it, and you can meet.
People would take pictures with that for sure.
The problem is people would pay to stand in line to meet the chicken parmesan. We prop it up on your desk.
We'll find out next week. I used to call Duffy the snuggle fabric softener bear. I don't like the snuggle bear creeped me out. That voice. Oh, it's so soft.
That's Elmo.
Yeah, I can't do any of those voices. So, a Haunted Mansion Parlor Bar Magic Kingdom will print money. See, now the question is, does Cruise Line have an exclusivity? I would think they do. I don't think they want Magic Kingdom just pumping that out. What I think happened, I could be wrong. This is just a guess. In my mind, the parlor got made. Walt Disney World management saw it and went, oh, wow, and then was told they couldn't do it and go, Pirate Bar. And they're like, well, here's what we spent on the Haunted Mansion parlor. And they're like, not that much.
Yeah.
We'll see. I hope the Pirate Tavern is cool. I really hope so. I hope real Peg Leg Pete is in there. I hope it turns out well. But the feeling I get is they saw that Haunted Mansion parlor and went, there's something here. We should chase this a bit. Yeah. I know, and there's that contingent of people that are like, oh, bars, I can't stop building bars and blah, blah, blah. I don't know that lounges are the problem. I don't like when the parks have beer carts, right? Like, that's the thing that bothers me. Like, Jollywood Nights, what I didn't like was, the longest line I saw all night was for that stupid generic, the beer cart outside of Brown Derby. Like, that stupid generic cart that makes junk by the arch. It's like, why? It's like right around the corner is the Brown Derby. Like, go at least sit and have a nice drink. Like, this is not
like that.
Six Flags.
Those are the people that just want to get wasted and walk around.
If you're gonna get wasted, drink something good. Not that syrupy swill that the carts have. The ABC commissary, that old fashioned, man. That Oaxacan old fashioned. That's where it's at.
I wait for the day they open up the first marijuana lounge in a park.
Well, Universal will have you covered.
It'll be all the green characters. It's a green Elphaba and Shrek and the Grinch.
Would the parks actually heavily theme something again? I think they're building lots of heavily themed things. I mean, that Cars attraction has a peak that's a piston.
Yeah, you know what? I'll tell you what. They're building heavily themed things into the park, but they're only themed to an area and not to each other and the park.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think that's the issue.
Yeah. But I think like the villains land is going to be incredible. That's going to be the next big thing for sure. I think Monstropolis. I think like, look, I don't agree with getting rid of Muppet Vision, but the idea of building Monstropolis is cool. It's a cool place.
I'm just worried they're not going to build Monstropolis. They're just going to add a bunch of like spikes and horns onto the buildings that are.
I mean, but
there.
that is. I mean, in fairness, that is what it looks like. But they're building the factory building, right?
They're building the factory building, but like I think that's
Yeah.
probably part of the reason why they didn't do it at Animation Courtyard was because there's already
didn't
a
have
bunch
to
of
build all the
buildings over
facades,
there
yeah.
that they could just put a bunch of spikes on. And
Yeah. Oh, for sure. I still think a big part of that was the dead end. Like, I think they knew that park layout is terrible. And it's just like, well, the only way you're ever going to get anyone back here is an e-ticket. And so that's what we're going to do. It's like, well, how do you make an e-ticket work in this area and not bulldoze the whole land? And that was the answer.
You know what? In the same respect, nobody's walking by Launch Bay either.
No.
You can walk by and get a picture in front of Launch Bay by yourself any time of day. So what's
But
the
we have
diff-
Mermaid coming, right? And so my assumption
Rob, have
is
you done that
there are other
recently,
things.
Freddie?
There are other things coming. I think there will be other things coming there.
That's such a very specific thing. You know about.
Well, you know what else? I'm talking about this too. It's funny because I feel like they very cleverly themed lands that could stand the test of time, and you can put things in those things.
Yeah.
And now you get rid of those lands. Like it was the animation courtyard. You do animation. You were an animation-based studio, and now it's really nothing about animation.
Yeah.
My favorite animated movie is A New Hope. So I'm glad they put that in there. See, my idea was to, I mean, this isn't an original idea, but to update the Great Movie Ride, put Runaway Railway in the animation courtyard, because why would you not put a Mickey Mouse ride
In the animation,
area?
It's not making sense.
And then if you put Monsters where it's going, and then you put like a Muppets area behind Tower of Terror where Rock and Roller Coaster is, like all 4 of those spots have been improved, but they kind of shot themselves in the foot by putting Mickey and Minnie where they did.
I mean, I get the line of thought. There are plenty of people that think the Great Movie Ride was dated and needed to be removed. My argument was never that it should have stayed exactly how it was. I think it clearly could have been updated. It would have benefited from a few new scenes. You know, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Haunted Mansion are not kept completely as they were. Neither should anything else. Things can evolve. There are things that are so integral to the theme of the park that they should remain. You know, but that doesn't mean they shouldn't be updated. And that was my argument with Bears, was these characters have to remain. They have to continue on. They don't have to continue to sing the same thing they've sang since 1971. That doesn't have to be the case.
I mean, I felt that way about the Indiana Jones. I mean, they haven't changed that stunt show a bit.
It was supposed to
The
change.
villains got new flags.
What was that?
The villains, they got new flags. It's a big update.
I think the flags are just gone now, aren't they?
Oh, I don't know.
When they opened, they had, I don't know if people know this, when they opened, they had the Nazi flags, and then when they were in soft openings. Then when they actually opened, they had gotten rid of the Nazi flag and had that plus symbol. And then finally, a couple years ago, they got rid of that, too. As if people have not seen an Indiana Jones movie and understand the premise. But the Parks blog is very happy to advertise the video game where he's punching Nazis, though. That's the irony. The park can't have it, but the Parks blog is posting clips of the game where he's beating up Nazis. They are dressed as real Nazis. Like, it doesn't make sense. I wish I had time to play that game.
I haven't even got the update to that Hogwarts
You'll probably just watch
Legacy
people
yet.
play it. Well,
I haven't even
I
done it
probably
either.
will.
The only
I
reason
probably-
Katie did it was
I'm
because we
excited
needed
to play it.
content for the marathon.
What,
We had
what?
already done the Pirates Life.
I said I hadn't
Did
done
you?
yeah, the
You watched our
Hogwarts one yet.
Pirates
Not yet. I haven't had a moment.
full of technical difficulties.
You haven't had time to watch the 52-hour marathon back?
No, just 1 hour of it, or 2 hours, or however long it was. I don't remember. It was like 3 a.m. Katie wasn't. If you watch it, you'll notice the commentary is mainly me, like trying to get myself excited about what we're doing, and Katie's just kind of sitting there because she'd been up for like 18 hours at that point.
She's not here. Tell us what you really think.
Well, no, Katie does a great job. I don't think Katie's watching. Does Katie? Does she have access to this? I'm genuinely asking.
Yeah, because you put it in the
You
public
gave
space.
her a link.
Does she? You gave her a
I
link.
don't know. I don't know.
That's right. You
She posted the link. That's right.
Tom, random blue sky question. What's your dream attraction or port to build to the left of Lost River Delta at Disney Sea? Coco. It makes too much sense. Like, that's already themed to South America and Central America.
So Indiana Jones, you mean, right?
Indiana Jones is there.
Oh, okay.
That's
See,
where
I got,
Indiana Jones
I got to
is.
get more worldly. Paris is first. That's what we decided.
Oh.
Hopefully.
I got Ratatouille there.
Yeah.
You ever been on
Do
Ratatouille?
that. Tell me more.
You're gonna love
I
it.
mean, it has the ending that's actually advertised in the ride with the restaurant. They're like, we'll see you at Bistro Chez Remy, and at Epcot, you pull up to a wall. Yeah. See you at the restaurant, here's a gray brick wall.
Everybody checked to see if Katie was watching for you. She's not. You can say whatever you want.
She's enjoying her vacation.
I think the last thing she would do is fly to New York for vacation and then watch this show. Like, oh boy, I can't wait to see what they get up to this week.
Nah.
Maybe it looks different.
Makes sense.
I'll tell you what, when I'm not here, if I remember, I'm always like, I kind of want to see what Eric's doing. Because he's usually at the piano doing something.
You know,
The night before my wedding was the news tonight that I missed. It was Halloween. And I was like, yeah, I know I got a little bit of nerves. I'm going to have trouble sleeping. Great, news tonight is on. I was out in 10 minutes. It was great. I passed out. Slept like a baby.
yeah.
He made it halfway through the monologue.
You know.
So what you're saying, news tonight, save your marriage?
Let me tell you, News Tonight has helped all of my relationships. Oh,
Do you want to keep going? or-
with my life or the show, because either way the answer's the same. Oh, man.
Are our contestants still here? I forgot to get their email addresses. Well, no, I know their names.
I wrote down
What are their
Brandon
names?
and Bridget.
It's impressive.
Bridget left? All right. I'll give her $4 to Brandon.
I've been told core bucks are valueless. People think they're valuable.
Do people say that?
Oh.
Can't they buy stuff online?
Our prize wall isn't good enough for them.
Oh.
So we'll see. We are updating the prize wall in January, so stay tuned. Obviously, the prize wall you have to photograph items, you have to put them in the system, et cetera. What gets in the way of that is doing the charity auction because it's the same process, right? So also we separate. We're like, okay, these things go in the charity auction, these things go on the prize wall. But dealing with the charity auction and shipping the Gerties and all of that really didn't allow us the time or energy to do the prize wall now. You know, they shipped 1,000 Gerties in 2 days.
I helped.
Yeah, thank you.
I packed like 10 of them.
Whoa, this one, whoa. And then obviously sending out the auction stuff. So, you know, if we updated the prize wall now also, there would be an influx of orders. That's more stuff we have to ship in the midst of all that. So it just didn't make sense. So January, we are going to try to update the prize wall then. But we have things set aside for it. They just need to actually, you know, get put up on the prize wall. We've been running kind of shorthanded for a while too, and that's recently changed. We have a lot of new writers. We have an executive assistant back for the first time in a couple of years. She just started this week. So we have a couple more hands around here, which is great. So I think it's going to help a lot.
So Katie saw that and saw it was a perfect time to get out of town. Is this thing on? Hello? You looked at me like you didn't hear what I said.
I heard what you said. It just wasn't. Now you know what I lived through. Billy is legitimately the funniest person in the company. I can't. Some of the things he says during the day are nuts. What was the thing that happened?
You keep bringing that one up.
Because Rosanna's brought up like 3 times.
Rosanna won't
now.
stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Do you want me to say it?
Yeah, you could say. Yeah.
Rosanna likes curly-haired guys with glasses.
Yeah. Well, I shaved all my hair. I had to give it all to Randy.
God.
I feel like when they leave tonight, like Tom's gonna be like, "All right, can we go?" And she's gonna be like, "Grab the wig."
Go with the glasses.
That's how they got broken.
So, anyways, we were saying good things about me. Remember, before
Before the dark time.
the dark times. So it was me, you, Nick, Rosanna, Sabrina, and Katie after the show last week. And Nick left something in your car, and so you're like, oh, let's go get it.
Yeah.
So the 2 you left, so it's just me, Rosanna, Sabrina, and Katie, and I said, finally, now it's just us girls.
Oh my God.
And
First
what?
you said the boys or the men have left. Now it's time for us.
He said the men have left. Now it's time for us girls.
And Rosanna was the only one who heard what I said, because as Katie and Sabrina were talking,
Yeah.
and so Rosanna just started dying, and they didn't know what was going on.
Because you were kind of just saying it for yourself. Like you were.
It was
My
like
favorite was
1 a.m.
when we gave you guys a raise. I came in and told you you're getting a raise, and Billy just goes, "Oh, I can finally afford to retire." Oh my God! Never a dull
I'm thinking
moment.
by January, maybe.
What?
By January,
By
I might.
January, 2 months of the raise, and that'll be enough.
I think roundabout Festival of the Arts, I might.
Yeah, just
I
not
might
to just edit that review. Don't worry, we only got 10 food reviews sitting in the wings right now. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's all right. They're certainly not. We didn't eat 100 things on a cruise ship or anything. Oh man, it's gonna be a fun couple of days.
But I'll have plenty of free time tomorrow to edit those. Right?
Yes, free time between filming Man vs. Park, News Today, and the honest review of The Treasure, which we're doing all 3 in a row tomorrow. Yeah.
There were 2 of those.
Then I have to
was
get
not
on an
aware of.
airplane. What was that?
There were 2 of those I wasn't aware of.
Oh, you didn't know about the other 2?
I didn't know we were doing News Today also.
It's Friday.
Well, we're not here at normal News Today time. I don't know.
Okay.
I've been busy this week.
Well, we're doing all of those tomorrow.
Hooray.
Where are you going tomorrow?
I'm going to New York.
Is
No, I'm just curious.
Dinoland along the way to New York? Is it?
Not
It's a roadside carnival on the way there.
We almost went to south of the border. We drove past south of the border. I
Love
want to go.
south of the border.
You love south of the
Oh,
border?
yeah.
Have you been?
Oh, every time.
Oh,
Really?
You woke
Yeah.
Nick up.
Oh. What'd you say?
I said you woke Nick up.
I woke Nick
It did.
South of the border. Huh?
Oh my God.
All right.
We got to stop. Nick's leaving.
I'm leaving.
Billy insulted Nick.
I didn't tell Nick. I just said you woke up.
I'm out of here.
What time is it?
What did he say?
Oh.
Is it past time?
It wasn't.
I mean, it's
Nick
way
just-
past time.
It's way past time.
Oh, yeah, it's got to be.
So obviously we'll be back next week. Well,
hold on.
some
I gotta
of
get
us.
back to the booth.
Yeah. Some of us will be back next week. But Tony will be with you all for news tonight. Should be a good time. We have a lot of other content coming out. We're going to, don't worry, when news tonight is gone, you have lots of stuff to catch up on, from the cruise content to, we have some Disney World stuff we have recorded that's sitting around too. Coral Reef review, some other fun stuff. So there'll be lots to watch. And yeah. So we'll see everybody next week. Good night.